Hey, we back. I'm here on Karuta and we are talking about bits today. Bits are another one of them fancy currency things. There sure is a lot of them on Karuta, huh? And bits is one of the currencies that is pretty easy to get. Therefore, of course, they're not worth too much. And once again, they have plenty of uses. So that's what we're going over today. And now in terms of getting bits, we've talked about that before because you get bits via working. You can have a look at your K-job board. You need your work permit and some nice cards there, and then based on your contribution, which is written at the top here, you will get bits for working nodes. If you want more information on all that stuff, check out the video that I already made on working and jobs and all the rest of it, which will probably be linked in the description. But today we're talking about the bits that you get from doing all that stuff. You can check your bits with K-bits, see how many bits of each type you have. I do not have a huge amount because I haven't been getting that many from work pretty much, and obviously I spend them sometimes, but I've got a reasonable amount, enough today to explain what we're doing. Now, what can you spend bits on? There are quite a few things. So first we're going to start with the obvious one being morphs. Morphs you've probably heard about before. We've talked about morphs before. I'm going to do a little demonstration of morphs. Morphs are really simple. If we grab a character here, let's take our Natsuru. They have to be mint condition. So you're looking for a mint condition character, and what you can do KM, short for K-morph, put that ID in, and then pick a bit type. You can pick any bit type. You have to have at least 250 of that bit type. I'm going to go with iron here because that's a pretty common bit type. It doesn't matter what you do, and in fact it doesn't matter at all because the morph that you get is going to be the same no matter what bit you pick. So just pick the most common bit every time. It's not like the copper ones will give you orangey morphs and the oil ones will give you black morphs or anything like that. That's not true. It'll all give you the same ones. But we pick yes, and you can see it changes the color. That one didn't change so much. We can try again, see if we can get a better one that maybe changes a bit more. One looks pretty much the same. It is, as you can imagine, completely random what you get, and it's a bit of a gamble. You could quite easily sit here for a while and spend 1,000 bits, few thousand bits, whatever, on just re-rolling, seeing if you get good morphs. I'm kind of hoping we get one that at least has a bold color to use as an example, but we're really not getting anything good here, so I guess I'll just go cry in the corner or something. I don't know. I guess that kind of constitutes a bold color. It's a bit rubbishy looking, but you can see we got the green around the edge and stuff, so yeah, there you go. Obviously I'd like to get a blue morph for Natsuru. Fits Natsuru really well. And I'm out of iron bits, so I guess I won't be doing that. Is it even going to? It's not even going to let me accept it anymore. Oh well, nothing for Natsuru today, and that was what, 2,500 bits spent right there. So like I said, you spend your bits pretty quickly if you start doing morphs. However, morphs are pretty nice. If you're going to want to get your cards looking really nice with some cosmetics, then morphs are going to be really helping you out. It is one of the steps. I would say to do it after you've done your frame, but as people will argue, you can sell morphs if you get a really rare one. Some of them are rarer than others, and if you do get a really rare morph, you can sell them to other people using swap orbs. So that they can have the rare morphs on their characters instead. Some people really like them, etc, etc. Now, these rare morphs normally are either black, white or red. That's the most rare morphs. There are a couple of special effect morphs, like ones that make the picture here go all black and white or reverse it or something like that, that are reasonably rare, but it's not so rare as compared to the black, white and red ones, especially if you get pure black, pure white or pure red. That is a pretty rare morph, and you can sell them for a pretty reasonable amount of tickets or whatever other currency. So if you do get lucky with something like that, I would advise you to take it. And if you are rolling morphs for the sake of selling them, you definitely want to do it on cards that do not have frames, because otherwise you would have to remove the frame in order to actually sell the morph, or have to sell the frame. Either way, you're probably pretty sad about that. Plus, some morphs only look good on some frames, so if you're trying to sell a rare morph that looks good on a particular frame, you might want to test the morph out on a bunch of different frames in order to see which it looks best on. Like I say, it depends if you're going for selling the morph or just making the character look as good as you possibly can. That's all down to you. But yeah, morphs, pretty good. Worth noting that these do not affect effort or anything like that. They are purely cosmetic, as opposed to frames and dies, which will help your effort. These do basically nothing. They just make your card look nice. But yeah, there you go. However, this is not the only thing that you can spend bits on. There's more. So what do we have next? We have the frame shop. We've talked about the frame shop before, so I won't go over it in too much detail in the frame video. That probably won't be in the description, but hey, whatever, maybe it will be. Check my channel, it'll be there. And the frame shop, for most of the frames, not this one, not the first one, but for most of these frames, okay, not the second one, not the second one either at the moment. They're doing some weird stuff. But from there you go, from brass onwards, these frames cost bits, 2,500 of 2 types of bits. I'm pretty sure all of them cost 5,000 bits total of 2 types of bits. So this one here, for instance, costs copper and zinc. This next one costs stone and wood, etc. There are, as you can see, quite a few of these frames which you can buy, and all of these ones in the shop, bar the first 2, cost bits. So you can spend your bits on those. These bit frames are generally a little less detailed than gem frames and event frames and stuff, but they still look really nice in a lot of situations, worth getting, and of course they are a lot cheaper than the gem frames and such. Each bit frame is worth normally a couple of tickets, whereas a gem frame is obviously worth more like 50 or 60, depending on the frame, of course. But yeah, there you go. Frames, that's another thing that you can buy with bits. There's more, of course there's more. There is one final thing, pretty much, with one exception, technically 2. But yeah, there's pretty much one final thing that you can do with bits, and that's backgrounds. We can have a look at the background shop as well. Now you might see initially, but wait Steve, that doesn't cost bits, that costs dust. Now this depends on the background. Some of them cost dust, some of them cost bits, some of them cost both. We have a flick through, there you go, this one costs dust and bits. Now these are a little bit more hefty than the frames, as you can see. That's 20,000 bits. Now to be fair, this one is a 300% price markup, which, as it says, is based on demand. The more people buy this background, the higher up in price it will go. So if it wasn't on that 300% markup, I believe this would cost 5,000 bits rather than 20,000. So it's not quite that extreme. If I were you trying to buy a background, wait until it goes down in price if it's one of these. Of course, some of them will always be that high, but if you look at the back here, you get some pretty cheap ones as well. This one here on a 75% price mark down, in fact, only costing 750 bits. To be fair, you can probably see why it doesn't cost so much. But yeah, there you go. That's the other place that you can use bits for. By the way, the backgrounds, if it wasn't obvious, this is backgrounds for your albums. Albums we've not done a video on yet. There will be one in the future. There'll be a video on everything eventually. That's the plan. A lot of Karuta videos going up recently. If you are a fan of the Made and the OO ones and whatever else, then they will come. They will come. Eventually there will be more. Feel free to suggest ideas if you have something particular you want me to go over, and I'm happy to do it. But for now, plenty of Karuta videos and albums is planned. So yes, albums will happen. But yeah, this is backgrounds for your albums, just to make them look nice. Again, this is purely cosmetics. Of course, the frames here, we've talked about these before, but these affect UFO values. These backgrounds do not. It's just cosmetic, and despite that, they do cost more in some cases. So yeah, anyway, you get the point. Backgrounds are pretty nice to have, frames are pretty nice to have, morphs are pretty nice to have, and so therefore, all in all, bits are pretty nice to have. The final thing that you can do with bits, I said there was a technicality there, of course you can trade them. because as with every currency in this bot, you can trade it. If you go into the official server down there, here, go into the trade channel, you will find people selling bits, you will find people buying bits, mostly people selling bits, to be fair. But yeah, if you get yourself a really nice job board, you've already got a bunch of backgrounds, bunch of bit frames, whatever, you can sell yourself some bits, get some tickets or whatever else, which is pretty nice. And of course, if you're looking to buy a particular background or a particular frame or whatever that has a high cost in bits that you can't afford, go and buy them. Why not? So you should be able to get some nice stuff there. You can also straight up trade bit frames. I think can trade backgrounds. I'm not actually sure on that one. And I've already mentioned trading morphs with swap frames. So like I said, as with everything in this bot, trading is a big thing. I can't remember the exact ratio at the moment on bits to tickets. It might be 2,500 to 1 or something like that. It's not a great ratio. That's the point. As I said at the start of the video, bits are not worth a huge amount. It's something like that though. But anyway, I think I've wittered about bits for long enough. We've gone over what, 4 or 5 uses of them now, something like that. So you're basically bit pros now, and that's how it works, isn't it? As soon as you hear me say it, instant pro. Anyway, because of that, I'm going to end this video here. Bye.